5 more. You got this. Breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. Before you just let go, just let go, just let go. Okay, 4, deep breath in, in. That's right. And out, out, out. Okay, last 3. Eyes gently closed. We'll just take a slow, big breath.
I want to talk about our fight or flight response, our parasympathetic nervous system, and the effect that breathing has on that.
Yeah, it's a tipping scale, right? And this is what's happening moment to moment. And actually, one of the most interesting things about your breath is that it can actually give you a moment-to-moment indication of where you sit on the scale. Now, let's say that on the left, we have the more fight and flight response. So we have the more sympathetic nervous system where our heart rate increases slightly, our pupils dilate, but our breath also starts to speed up. And when we tip it to the right, we have the rest and digest, the parasympathetic side of things, and our heart rate slows down. And one of the first things you notice is your breath also slows down. Now, we've already been chatting about how this is both happening to you, but you can also start doing this. There's actually a really simple trick with this, and it's sort of like the golden rule of breathing, is if we establish any breathing patterns, any rhythm of breathing, and they all work, first of all, there's no sort of wrong one, but you take a breath in, say, in for 5 and out for 5. Nice and slow through the nose, yeah, and then again in. And so that's the breath of balance, where you're breathing in for 5 and out for 5. Now, if we just tip that to the left slightly and we breathe in for 6 and out for 4. In for 6. So we increase the inhale and we decrease the exhale. We actually, our heart rate starts to speed up. Whereas if we then tip it the other side, we take a breath in for 4, out for 6, it starts to calm us down. So anytime you find that you want to energize yourself, which is sometimes appropriate, right? You want to sort of get up out of bed, you want to start your day, you want to replace your coffee with a bit of breathing, you know? Increase the inhale. Lean on that side. When anytime you want to calm it down, whether it's in the morning to start the day in a nice grounded way, or in the afternoon to sort of leave the day behind, you want to slow the exhale down and really lengthen that.
Is this why yoga and meditation are such huge components when it comes to calming the body and the mind, because they're about connecting with breath?
Absolutely. And to me, yoga is all breathing. I think the sort of roots of that tradition are really breath-based, which is incredible. It's actually been shown that really experienced meditators will breathe about 4 breaths a minute when they're meditating. And so that just shows that they've actually got their body and their breath mastered, right? They're breathing really slow. They're doing everything that we're talking about. Now, there was a recent research paper from Stanford University, and it was really fascinating because it was looking at a couple of different breathing patterns and essentially the difference between meditation and breath work in stress reduction. And so meditation might be where you're simply watching your breath, and breath work in this example is where you're actually using a rhythm of breathing, like a breathing exercise. And breath work was more effective than meditation in reducing stress. To me, what that represents is that it actually gives us a tool. And let's be honest, when we need it the most, right, when we're most stressed, who's going to sit down and meditate? Which for a lot of people is this experience of like, I'm thinking about not thinking and I think it's working. Especially when you need it the most and maybe the hot bath is not available, you don't want to reach for the drink and you can't go for your 30-minute run. What do? Well, your breath is there. One more breath in all the way. And then when you breathe out, you're just going to hold your breath for me. So just breathe out, 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 and pause and stay and hold your breath. And it's like shaking up the snow dome of our inner experience, and now you're watching it all settle. Stay there, hold it for a moment longer.
I think what you're saying is really powerful because you are in control. You can, I've got to be careful with this term, you can self-medicate with breath.
Self-regulate.
Yeah, I like that. You can self-regulate with breath, but it can go both ways. You can regulate for the positive, and you can regulate for the negative by doing what you've shown me. I'm trying to deep breathe, and you see in the movies they get the brown paper bag and they're holding up to their mouth. So it's about being in the driver's seat. We're in the driver's seat of our breath.
What a powerful lesson, right? And I actually would agree with that so much. And when you think about something like a panic attack, here's another crazy number for you, right? I think it was 65% of ambulance calls in New York City in 2018 were related to respiration, breathing. more than half the amount of people that called an ambulance was for a respiratory thing. And this just comes to show like how significant this is, but also how we're kind of like helpless in the face of like this calamity where the world is breathless.
And you're saying 2019?
This was 2018.
2018,
yeah.
So we're talking pre-pandemic, because we're not talking about respiratory illness from a virus. We're talking about respiratory issues from life.
It's a big one. Sometimes people might write something like this off. They might say, oh, I don't really identify with anxiety. I don't really have sleeping problems, right? I don't really feel tense in my body. I don't have respiratory conditions. Why would I look at breathing? I've been doing it all my life, right? But you have, but there's no guarantee that you've been doing it correctly. And it's not just for people who have symptoms, even though it can be a lifesaver. It's actually for everybody, and this is what I'm trying to get across to people. I really am. I actually firmly believe that everybody can breathe a little better today.
Wow. Who would have thought that just the simple act of breathing could have such a profound effect on how we think and feel? I was overwhelmed at times throughout today's session because not only could I feel relaxed, but I could also feel heightened simply by adjusting my breath. If you've ever felt stuck with your day, your energies, and your emotion, simply bring it back to you, take ownership, and utilize the tool that you have at your disposal all day, every day, your breath. It has the power to change your life.